we're going to talk about the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle is not just a ship. It's a floating military base. It's a living city in the heart of the ocean and a symbol of France's power that attracts every military enthusiast. In this video, besides the specifications of the Charles de Gaulle carrier, we'll review its most significant historical moments and the military operations in which it has played a role. Greetings to you all. I'm Elias Farkham. This is Persian Trend, and I'm here with another video for you. Imagine a steel giant that's 260 meters, 4 long, as wide as a football stadium, and weighs 42,500 tons. That's 4 times the weight of the Eiffel Tower. This is the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier, the only active aircraft carrier in France, and the country's first nuclear-powered surface vessel, which has been shining in the Navy since 2001. At the heart of this giant are 2 K-15 nuclear reactors, which allow it to cruise the seas at a speed of 27 knots, that's 50 kilometers per hour, and stay ready for any mission for months without refueling. This ship is named after General Charles de Gaulle, the hero of the French resistance in World War II. And it's as if his warrior spirit flows through every bolt and screw of the vessel. Charles de Gaulle is a mobile airbase that can carry up to 40 aircraft, ranging from Rafale M fighter jets to E-2C Hawkeye early warning radar planes, as well as Caracal and Cougar helicopters. What makes this carrier special is its CATOBAR system, which means launching aircraft with a catapult and landing them with arresting cables. Aside from the United States, only France has such a system, which means Charles de Gaulle can launch heavy fighter jets quickly and accurately, making it a top performer in complex operations. This system operates with 2 75-meter steam catapults, powered by nuclear reactors, and they can launch a fighter jet into the sky every 30 seconds. Let's take a look at some of its historic operations to see why this carrier is a key asset in the French Navy. The first case is the war in Afghanistan. When the United States attacked Afghanistan after the September 11th attacks, France sent the Charles de Gaulle to the Indian Ocean. The Super Étendard fighter jets from this carrier flew reconnaissance missions alongside American forces and gathered crucial intelligence during sensitive operations. This was the first time that the Charles de Gaulle proved itself in a real conflict and demonstrated that it could play an important role in long-range missions. The next operation was the fight against ISIS. After the Paris terrorist attacks in November 2015, then-President François Hollande sent the Charles de Gaulle to the Eastern Mediterranean and then to the Persian Gulf to destroy ISIS. Rafale fighter jets from the deck of this carrier bombed ISIS positions in Iraq and Syria, including the city of Raqqa, ISIS's self-proclaimed capital, in a major operation. In September 2016, 24 Rafales, armed with 250-kilogram laser-guided bombs, leveled ISIS positions in Mosul. This carrier down was stationed in the Persian Gulf and, with the support of the US-led coalition, carried out up to 100 combat flights per day. The third case was Operation Razmarsak in 2021. In that year, the Charles de Gaulle took command of the US Navy's 5th Strike Group in the Arabian Sea. This historic event demonstrated America's trust in France. In this mission, Rafale fighter jets flew alongside American Super Hornets and carried out operations against ISIS and regional threats. This cooperation showed that the Charles de Gaulle is not just a French carrier, but can be counted on as a global player. The fourth point was the strengthening of NATO after the Ukraine war in 2022. When the Ukraine war began, the Charles de Gaulle conducted air combat patrols in the eastern Mediterranean and Romania to reinforce NATO's southeastern flank. The Hawkeye and Rafale aircraft from this carrier patrolled the skies over Romania, sending a clear message to any threat. NATO is ready. The last point was the Gulf of Aden in Yemen in 2024. In December 2024, the Charles de Gaulle passed through the Gulf of Aden, which was under the control of Yemen's Ansar Allah forces, without any confrontation. France assured the Yemenis that it would not take any action against them, demonstrating the smart diplomacy that allowed this carrier to safely navigate a tense situation. The Charles de Gaulle hasn't only shined in wars, it has historic moments that are fascinating for any military enthusiast. The first is the commissioning of this carrier in 2001. After years of construction at the DCNS shipyard, the Charles de Gaulle officially became operational in May 2001. This was the moment when France showed the world it could build a nuclear-powered carrier with CATOBAR technology, something that even many major powers don't have. At first, the ship was supposed to be named Richelieu after the famous French cardinal, but Jacques Chirac, the then Prime Minister, said it should be named Charles de Gaulle because this general is a symbol of France's independence and pride. This decision was itself a political statement. The next incident happened in April 2020. The Charles de Gaulle carrier faced an unexpected crisis. About 1,081 out of its 1,900 crew members contracted COVID-19. The ship was forced to return to Toulon, and the crew had to be quarantined. This incident showed that even ironclad promises are vulnerable to civilian threats. In March 2022, the Charles de Gaulle anchored at one of Cyprus's ports to participate in naval patrol missions in the eastern Mediterranean. Accompanying it were 2 destroyers, a frigate, a nuclear submarine, and a supply ship demonstrating the strength of the carrier's strike group. Charles de Gaulle is a vibrant city with 1,800 residents who work together like one big family. Imagine narrow corridors filled with hustle and bustle where Rafale pilots, sharp as eagles, are ready for takeoff, and technicians are checking complex systems. 15% of the crew are women, and they shine in every department from the deck to the command room. Life on the carrier is like a non-stop marathon. Day and night as combat drills, checking the catapults, and staying on alert for threats continue. The cooks prepare 3 meals a day for 1,800 people, and the ship's hospital, equipped with a scanner and an operating room, is ready for any emergency situation. The crew stay in touch with home through letters and limited phone calls. But now, satellite internet has made things easier. These people wake up every day with pride from serving on such a ship and are ready to serve France. Now let's go up to the deck where adrenaline is surging. Launching fighter jets with a steam catapult is an action-packed spectacle. A Rafale accelerates from 0 to 250 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds and is shot into the sky from a 75-meter runway. The launch officers, dressed in yellow and commonly called yellow dogs, secure the aircraft like Hollywood directors, and with the push of a button, the fighter jet is soaring into the clouds. At that moment, the pilot endures 5 to 6 times the force of gravity. It's as if they're riding a rocket, but landing is an even crazier challenge. The pilot has to land their plane on a moving runway in the middle of the sea at a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. A hook on the tail of the plane must catch one of 3 steel cables to bring it to a stop within a few meters. The landing mirror system shows the correct angle, and if anything is wrong, the landing officers guide the pilot via radio. If the hook doesn't catch, It's called a bolter, and the pilot has to take off again. The deck crew, like a Formula One team, prepare the runway after each landing. The E-2C Hawkeye, also known as the ship's eye, is the brain of operations. This aircraft circles in the sky with its large radar dome, scanning everything within a radius of several hundred kilometers, from enemy fighters and drones to suspicious boats at sea. Its radar is so powerful that if it flies over the middle of France, it can cover the entire country's airspace. The Hawkeye sends information to the carrier and the fighter jets, allowing the Charles de Gaulle to always stay one step ahead. When it returns, it folds its wings to make room for the Rafales. The Charles de Gaulle can't fight without support. The supply ship Marne is always by its side, like a nurse. Every 10 days, thousands of liters of aircraft fuel are pumped from the Marne to the carrier. During combat missions, bombs and missiles are regularly restocked. 1,800 people eat 3 meals a day, and the Marne brings fresh food every 10 to 15 days. The trash is also collected and sent to shore. This supply line keeps the Charles de Gaulle operational at sea for months. The sea, with its salt and humidity, is the enemy of metal, so the Charles de Gaulle requires constant maintenance. In 2023, the carrier spent 8 months being overhauled in the Toulon dry dock. The catapults, which wear out under the stress of launches, were completely replaced. The hull of the ship, which is the size of 4 football fields, was cleaned of deposits and barnacles to prevent any loss of speed. The ship's radar, communication systems, and hospital were also upgraded. These repairs ensure that the Charles de Gaulle will remain at its peak for decades to come. The Charles de Gaulle is never alone. This carrier leads a professional strike group with escort ships, frigates, a nuclear submarine, and a supply ship. At a speed of 27 knots, it can travel 1,000 kilometers in 24 hours and demonstrate France's power wherever necessary. In today's tense world, the Charles de Gaulle is a deterrent tool. When it appears in the Mediterranean or the Persian Gulf, everyone realizes that France is not to be taken lightly. With its rich history, from Afghanistan to ISIS and NATO, and a crew whose hearts beat for their country, this ship is a national legacy. The Charles de Gaulle is not just a ship, it is a symbol of power that future generations will also take pride in. Those of you who have been following Tourangeau up to now have become familiar with American and Russian aircraft carriers. And now you've also gotten to know the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. But in your opinion, which ship do you think is missing from my channel? Or what military equipment do you think we should introduce that we haven't covered yet? I read all your comments and respond to them wherever possible. Until the next video, take care.